Hi everybody, welcome back to another SUPboarder video. This week we are going to be looking and talking about the Gladiator paddleboard range. Now Gladiator have got a big range of paddleboards, and it's fair to say that they have been supplying a lot of the market with very good competitive price paddleboards over the last few years. This is the first time we've actually had a proper look at these boards, so we're going to be going over the full range, talking about the 3 different constructions, talking about all the boards you can get, and really trying to help you understand which board will be best for you, and also having a look at some of Gladiator's features and fittings that they put on their boards that do make them very different from other inflatable paddleboards in the market. So whether you're looking to buy a first-time inflatable paddleboard or you're looking for a board to offer you a little bit more performance, Gladiator paddleboards do probably have a board for you in their range. They have a vast range of boards, and for many people there is almost too many boards to choose from. But really what we're going to do in this video is break it down really simply. We're going to be talking about the constructions, we're going to be talking about the ranges in those constructions and what you get with the full package, and then we're also going to offer you a bit of advice about choosing maybe your first paddleboard or what sort of board you should be looking at for what sort of paddling. And of course, if we do miss something in this video, any questions and comments, leave them in the comment section below. So the first thing you'll notice when you go to a Gladiator store or you go online is you'll notice there's 3 very different constructions. They do a light construction, they do a pro construction, and they do an elite construction. I'm going to talk you through those 3 constructions very basically and help you understand which board type of construction would be best for you. So first off, the light boards. They're all made of an internal core of drop stitch with a textile substrate layer on top of that, then a single PVC layer wrapped right around the board, but there's also a secondary stringer which is going down the middle along the top and the bottom of the board, and then the rails are finished off with double reinforced edges. And those boards have a maximum PSI pressure of 20 PSI. Now that is the cheaper price point board. The important thing to remember is some of the other cheaper price point boards in the market will only be allowed to go up to 15 PSI. So that still is quite a high PSI rating even for a cheaper price point product. Looking at the pro boards, well, it's the same internal core drop stitch as the cheaper light boards, but instead of just having a single substrate layer, it's got 2 of those, and it's got 2 layers of PVC completely wrapping the whole of the board, and it's reinforced with a double layer but with an X strong edge layer right around the outside of the board. And those have a maximum PSI pressure of 26 PSI. The elite range of boards is made with a different internal core. You've got a much higher quality woven drop stitch. You've still got the 2 substrate textile layers, and you've still got 2 layers of PVC wrapping the entire board like you did have on the pro boards. And the rails are still reinforced with the X strong edge. And just like the pro range of boards, the elite range 2 uses fusion technology. So this is basically where instead of sticking layers on layers, they actually more likely melt the layers together. So you reduce the amount of glue, which brings the weight down of the boards. And the elite can also take up to a maximum pressure of 26 PSI. So basically, what does all that mean? There's a lot of words in there that you might not be aware of. Drop stitch, PVC, woven technology, all of this stuff can be quite confusing. Simply, the light range is a more stripped back board. It's more lightweight, it's easier to carry, it's not as stiff as the other 2 boards. It's a more simpler, finished off product, and therefore the price point is cheaper. The pro range has the same basic core as the light range, but because it's wrapped in multiple layers in PVC, it makes the board much stiffer. So it's going to take more weight and give you more performance. The downside is it is a heavier base board, so it does weigh more than the light range. The elite range is finished off with the newest technology in ISUPs at the moment, woven technology. It basically brings the weight back down to something nearer the light range, but you have the performance of the pro range. And that's why when you go into stores or go online, you'll see that the price points of these different ranges are very different. The light range is around £350. The pro range is around £450, and the elite range is around £650. Obviously the bigger boards will cost more, but really it's basically to do with the base construction that's underneath those boards that changes those price points. So let's have a quick look at all of the boards you can get in all of the constructions. The full light range starts off with the smallest 9/6, which is a kid's board, but also could be used for a lighter person as well. Then you can go on to the 10/6 kids, but that's just a narrower base board, so you could also just use it as a lighter weight person as well. Then you've got your 10/4x31, which is your all-round board for most people getting into the sport, and they also offer that in a pink version as well. Then you've got your 10/6x32, and you've got your 10/8x34. and depending on what country you're in, you may also find two 12.6s, one at 30 wide and one at 32 wide as well. Looking at the full pro range, you'll still see that they lightly cross over with the light range. You can still get a 10.4, you can still get a 10.6, and you can get a 10.8, but they have thrown in there a 10.7, which is a windsurf model as well. It's got a US box fin in the middle of the board, and it's got a screw thread so you can attach your universal joint and put your rig or mast on top. Those boards, like in the light range, are all the same width and thickness, which we'll speak about in a minute. But then there's also an 11.2 by 31 and the two 12.6s by 30 and by 32, which you'll find really commonly in stock with shops around the world. And now you'll see the elite range sort of steps off from the bigger size pro range. So it starts off with 11.2, 11.4, two 12.6s just like you can get in the pro range, but this time finished off last with three 14 foots. You've got a real designated race board at 25 wide, a bit more of a cruisy race board at 27, and then you've got your touring based wider 14 foot at 30 wide. So really, which board will be best for you? Well, let's start off with some basic things. Let's try and get you thinking about what board type you're going to need. Now, first off, the longer the board, the easier it's going to be to paddle in a straight line. The faster it's going to move for the water, and the less paddle strokes you're going to need to put in to get you there. The shorter, fatter board is going to turn around quicker, but it's not going to be so fast. So it's going to take more paddle strokes to get you to the same location. So if you're really thinking, I'm just going to paddle in flat water most of the time, I'm not interested in turning around, I don't want to go in the surf, I just want to paddle long distances down the river, then you should be looking at the longer base board, really plus 11 foot. If you're thinking, I just want to go as fast as possible, get into racing, then obviously looking at the longest base boards would be best for you. If you're looking for something to maybe get into a bit of all-round SUP, cruising down the river, maybe go surfing at the weekend, look at the shorter base boards, more around the mid 10 foot in length. When it comes to the widths of all the boards, just think about it this way. The wider the board, the more stable the board. The narrower the board, the not so stable, but the faster it's going to be to paddle. There's one other thing to really highlight, because Gladiator do it really, really well, and that is the thickness of the board. Many other brands out there, when it comes to iSUPs, they do all of their iSUPs in 6 inches thick, but Gladiator don't do that. They make their boards in 475 inches thick and 6 inches thick. Well, really, what is the difference and why do you need it? Well, having a thicker board just makes you higher off the water. It makes you feel a little bit more detached from your paddling experience, and for a lot of people, if you're climbing on maybe with a buoyancy aid, climbing onto a thicker baseboard is a lot harder to do, so it's definitely something to bear in mind if you're a beginner. The advantage of a 6-inch thick board is it makes the board much stiffer, so it's great for the longer baseboards, touring boards, racing boards. It's also great for the boards that need to take a bit more weight, maybe you're touring, or if you're a heavier paddler, which is why you'll see like the boards like in the 10.8s are all 6 inches thick, and really the boards around the 11 foot and up are 6 inches thick. So now let's talk about the features that you get on these boards and the packages you get with all the light, the pro and the elite range. So the light range package, obviously you're going to guess it, is a little bit more stripped back than the other packages. You've got a basic but well-made carry backpack. It's got shoulder straps on the back, hasn't got any wheels, it fits the bag in easily, and it can obviously take all your gear to the beach. The leash it comes with is a black basic non-logoed coiled leash, absolutely fine for paddling flat water. But if you ended up getting into a certain discipline, maybe like surf or even a bit of racing, you would want to upgrade this leash, but it's perfect. It comes with the light package. The paddle it comes with is an aluminium shaft, plastic blade, 3-piece paddle. It's a basic paddle, there's no doubt, but it's the sort of paddle that's going to get you on the water and get you into paddleboarding absolutely fine. It's a full adjustable paddle, so it's going to fit the whole family. The nice thing about the light package is you still get a good quality pump, because you might want to pump it up to 20 psi. Built-in pressure gauge. It's made from one of the best iSUP pump manufacturers in the world, and it's a double action pump, so you can pump on the upstroke and on the downstroke. The first thing you'll notice when you see the Pro Range package is the bag is different. It comes with a branded up Gladiator wheelie bag as well. So it's a similar material to the other more basic bag, but it's finished off with wheels, which is really a really handy thing to have when you want to transport your ice up. The leash it comes with is a much better quality Gladiator coiled leash. The fittings can obviously take a lot more pressure, therefore it'd be great for a bit more surfing, racing, putting your board in those slightly more extreme conditions, which is really where the Pro Range is geared up to a little bit more performance. And just like the upgraded leash, it comes with an upgraded paddle. You get a carbon nylon paddle. So basically it's a carbon shaft, which is much stiffer, gives you much more performance when you're paddling. The more the paddle flexes, the less you're going to move your board forward. So this is a much more performance-based paddle. Still comes with a nylon blade, which is a little bit heavy, but it does offer enough hard wearingness. So if the kids want to ram it in the beach and use it as a spade, this paddle is going to last through those dinks and sandcastles. It's a 3-piece paddle, fully adjustable, so obviously it's going to fit the whole family. Finishing off with the pump, it's the same pump that comes with a light board, and as I said, with a light board, it's adequate for getting that high pressure in the board. This board, remember, goes to 26 psi, and this double action pump can easily do that. And lastly, looking at the Elite range, it comes with the same bag as you get with the Pro range, so it's the Wheelie branded up Gladiator bag. You've got the same leash as you get with the Pro range, so it's a good quality leash. It's going to take the board in lots of situations and you don't have to worry about it breaking. But with the paddle and the pump, it's very different. You get a very nice 3-piece carbon paddle. What's the difference with carbon? You probably guessed it, it's a lot lighter. It's going to give you that more performance paddling. This shaft is the same stiffness as the cheaper Pro package with the carbon nylon, but you've got the carbon blade. Really brings the weight down, and it brings down the swing weight. When you take your paddle out of the water, place it in again, it's going to be much easier to do that. You're going to have less paddle to move, or less weight to move through the air, and therefore you can paddle for longer and you can paddle faster. The paddle itself is actually a really nice carbon paddle for all-round paddling. Fully adjustable, so obviously it could fit all your family and friends. The big difference with the pump is it's still a Bravo pump, but this is a Bravo Super pump. Now, we tested this pump a year ago, and it's one of the test-winning pumps. It's a very easy pump to use, gets a lot of air in your board. It's still a two-way pump like the pump that you get with the Pro and the light boards, but it's just a bit more efficient and it's easier to pump a higher pressure into your board quicker. So now let's look at the features and the fittings that you get on the 3 packages. First off, talking about the fins. There's basically 2 different constructions of fins. There's a cheaper plastic stiffer fin, which comes on the light range of boards, and then there's a Gladiator branded flexi fin that comes with the Pro and the Elite range. The big difference between these two isn't the shape, it's just to do with the robustness. This is going to be able to take a lot more impact and ramming up the beach. It's going to handle having the kids jump on the board when it's on the sand. The cheaper plastic fin you're going to have to be a little bit more aware of because it's a bit more brittle. The other quick thing to highlight is the 2 different fin types they do. You've got your more traditional all-round fin, which is like a surfboard like this one, and then you've got your more touring race shape fin like this one. A more touring race shape fin has just got a bigger area, it's more swept back, and therefore it makes it easier for you to paddle in a straight line and less effort for you to paddle longer. This more surf shape or all-round fin is easier for turning. You could go surfing with it and you can still paddle long distances with it, which is why it's fitted with the all-round boards. And the touring fin, obviously, is better at going further, easier, and that's why it's fitted with the touring and race boards. What keeps your fin attached to your board are fin boxes. All these fin boxes are US boxed, and the fins we looked at are US boxes as well, which is just the term used for the fitting that goes into the fin box. The fin box that's supplied with the light boards are all the black plastic fin boxes, a little bit cheaper quality than the ones that come with the Pro Elite boards. These are a white fin box. They look a bit higher quality and they look a little bit more robust too. Other features on top of the board, you'll notice the light board is a little bit more stripped back. It's still got a really nicely finished off deck pad. It's got a grooved deck pad with the Gladiator logos really embossed into the deck pad. Looks fantastic. Nice carry handle situated in the middle of the board. You've still got your bungees up at the front of your board, so you can put your dry bag or attach a drink or your flip-flops up to the front if you're paddling. And the light board, like all the boards, has got a handle at the back, which makes it great for moving around in the shallows before you get on your board. Moving up to the Pro range, the first thing you'll notice is the graphics. I think the graphics are a lot more tasteful on the Pro range than on the light range. They've still got the bungees available on the front, and on the bigger boards you've got them at the back as well. I have to say the back ones are really nicely cut in with the EVA deck pad around them, very well finished off. You've got your central carry handle, which is nice and comfy, and around that carry handle then you've got a crocodile style skin EVA deck pad. Like the way this is fitted right over the whole of the board. It's a very smart and well fitted deck pad. I like the way they've cut the Gladiator logo in through the EVA, and it just looks more top quality compared to something like the light board. All of the Pro boards are finished off with a kick pad, which is a basic term for having a slope at the back of the EVA. So when you're moving around the board, maybe you're doing step back turns or buoy turns, means you can feel the back of the deck pad before you stand off the back of the board. So all the Pro boards are finished with a kick pad as well. None of the light boards have got a kick pad. The Elite range of boards has got similar bungees to the other boards, and also on the bigger boards they are fitted at the back and of course really nicely fitted in around the EVA deck pad. The EVA deck pad is a similar style to the Pro boards, except you've got more graphics cut in around the Elite board, so again it looks a little bit more better quality. Nice carry handle in the middle, and the general styling and the finish of the board, again top quality, pretty much the same as the Pro board. Obviously the styling is slightly different in its colorways. So there we go, there's a lot of information in this video, I know. Now to give you a quick summary of the boards and really what sort of range you should be looking at, think about it this way. If you want to get into paddleboarding but you're not really sure if you really want to commit to the sport, maybe you want to do it 5 or 6 times a year with your friends and go out and have a bit of fun in the sunshine, then probably the light range of boards is the good range to look at. It's got a lot of boards there to get you on the water, first time paddling fun for a lot of different weights and abilities. If you think you're going to be more committed, or you've already had a few lessons and you're really loving SUP, then I would urge you to push yourself onto more a Pro range of boards. Wider range there, going to be better for taking you paddling further, maybe getting into a bit of light touring or having some further paddles with family and friends. A better quality product, stiffer, a little bit heavier than the light board, but is going to offer you way more performance than the light board as well. If you're really getting into paddleboarding, it could still be a first time paddleboard, or maybe it's a second or third time paddleboard, or you're looking to get into that more specific discipline like racing. The Elite range of boards is the board range you should be looking at. It's more money, but the internal construction of the boards is better and lighter, and the sizes are geared up to more performance paddling, hence why they have a 14 by 25. So there it is, that is the full Gladiator Paddleboards overview. I really hope that video was interesting and informative. We really tried to educate you about what sort of board you should be looking at, and I help you understand the differences between these 3 ranges. We're really impressed with the Gladiator range. All of the ranges sit at very good price points, and they have very good build qualities, and they have got a range of boards that definitely will suit pretty much every rider out there. If you found this video useful, please give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, check out SUPboarder Mag for more great SUP techniques and reviews, and if you're mad keen on SUP, definitely check out SUPboarder Pro. Until next time, we'll see you on YouTube, SUPboarder or SUPboarder Pro.